So I've given a little hoover inside of the pistons just to try and get as much of that detritus off as possible, the coating that'd fallen off the head onto the actual piston heads itself, but they're still quite coked up. So what I'm going to do is raise the piston up by turning the pulley, raise the piston up, just see if I can clean it gently without disturbing it too much. So I've got a 17mm ratchet on the light, and I'm just going to bring the pistons up. I don't want to overshoot it, so just going to be gentle here. Started to raise the thing. There we go. There we can see the top of our pistons. So not going to try and do too much. Just try and clean it up a very small amount. Just got a little wire brush here. Just going to gently scrub. See if I can get some of this to move a little bit off the top of the piston. See, they're very black at the moment. As you can see, it's not absolutely perfect, but you can actually read the lettering on the top now. So after some careful cleaning, the top of that piston's looking really nice. That one at the back is still to do. So that's taken another kind of 20 minutes at least. So this is quite a time intensive job to get done. It wasn't something I was having to expect to do. I was expecting just to drop the new gasket in, tighten it all back up and be ready to go. But clearly we're not there. So we're now going to clean this one up gently, carefully, and see what we're left with. So after quite a lot of effort, we've managed to clean up the two pistons. Just given the engine a little bit of a clean as well. Haven't gone into it too much detail. I'm not trying to detail it here, just tidy it up slightly. So our pistons are good. Should be time to put the new head gasket on and put it all back together. So we have a new head gasket here. Compare it with the old one, it's not really any difference. The old one just looks a bit older, to be fair, but that was still perfectly serviceable. We couldn't have told that without taking it apart. So we're going to put this on. Should go this way round. We have to take our time a bit here because not everything is quite straight. So you kind of have to gently manoeuvre it into position without trying to do damage to the actual gasket itself. And it's quite a difficult thing to do. Once you get it over the threads, should be an easier job of just pushing it down. But still, let's take it piece by piece. You don't want too much flex or too much bend in it. There we go, that's now flush all the way around. So new gasket on. Just going to lower the pistons slightly. And you're just going to take them back down a little bit. There we go. Got our head here, which I've tried to give it a little bit of a clean up to. So it's as good as we can get it. It's clearly had a repair on the, I don't know if you can see that. It's quickly had a thread repair for one of the spark plugs there. So this is where it all becomes a little bit tricky. The challenge here is getting all of this lined up nicely in the head. As well as doing that, putting the tinware back on at the same time, because that needs to go in place as we drop it. Just make sure you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So just easing it down a little bit first of all, just to get it going. And it is a case of wiggling it, pushing it a little bit here, a little bit there, rocking it gently as we go. We don't want to do too much force, kind of let it need to drop with its own weight. Now these tend to go in nicer in the bottom than they do the top, so what I'm actually going to do is try and push these in the top first, because they hold quite well up here. Not trying to do too much, because I have, when doing this before, I have crushed these pipes a little bit by not quite doing it right. So these should line up nicer as they go down now. So I'm going to go down slowly. Then I'm going to also introduce our tinware here as we do it. So just going to give the tinware off camera just a quick clean, make sure it looks its best before it goes back on. Okay, so I've given this a little bit of a spruce up. And I'm going to carefully kind of try and lower these down. Get this in and out, so that's good. Just try and line these up as I can. Okay, after a bit of toing and froing, I've got those tubes aligned. To try and make sure this is over. Yes, it is. Right, now I might have a chance of doing this. Everything should be aligned now. All the washers on, all in a good place. Put our nuts on. So my washers on first. All the washers on. And we put our nuts on. Not a lot of attention because I put the wrong nut on there. So this is our 499 engine. So we have our Haynes manual here, Fiat 500. And normally the torque settings are in the front with the engine. So here's the engine pages, and we're looking for tightening torques. Here we are. Cylinder head nuts, got 24 pounds per foot. So cylinder head nuts, 24 pounds per foot, and that's what we'll be setting our torque wrench to. So as always with the torque wrench, should set it back down to 0. So we're looking for 24, 10, 20, 2, 3 and 4. So we're going to lock it there. Let's see if we can get a bit of a close-up on that. So there we go, 24. Let's just zoom out a little bit. It's quite bright, so I'm not sure whether you can see that or not. I'll only see you in post-production. So it needs to come through the other side. Going the right way? No, going the wrong way. Feels like if there's a wrong way of doing something at the moment, I'm doing it, so. So we're not going to go round and start to tighten them up, but we're not going to do it till it clicks yet. I just want to start moving the head down. So it's nice and even across the board. Stuck here. Okay. See, as we're doing some up, the others get looser. Right, we're getting a bit tighter now. Okay, that one. This one's still a bit loose. There we go. Right, I'm just going to go around and check them all again. Yeah, 1. See, that one tightened a little bit more that time. 2, 3, sorry. 4, that one tightened a bit more. 5, 6, that one tightened a bit more. 7, 8, once more. You get a bit of movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Right, so that's torqued to the correct setting now. We can take our torque wrench back down to 0 so it's not under any pressure. And hopefully, now that's back on, the really hard part is done, and we can just go for reassembly. Famous last words. So if we're lucky, it's just going to be a reverse of everything we've done so far. So we've got our push rods here. Going to take number 4 out first. Drop that in. Number 3 next. It's sitting very high. Oh, okay. Yeah, of course it will. Sorry, it depends where the camshaft is, doesn't it? There we go. And this one should sit slightly higher as well. Yeah, there we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. All good. So they're back in. Next, we need to put the thread we took out back in order to mount the rockers. So this was 13. So I want to make sure this is nice and tight. I won't overdo it, but we do want to make sure that it doesn't come loose. I think that feels good without over tightening it. And we need to break these apart. So should bring them together. There we go. Hopefully these are coming off. Be careful we don't drop one down into the engine bay. But there we go, all off. Those to one side safely, and then we've got our rocker. Goes on here. Right, there we go, we've actually got it on now. Wow, things should not be this hard. We'll put our washer, then our 13 bolt on. Now, I can't remember whether these have a torque setting or not, so I'm going to check. Most things in the engine do, so there's a good chance they will. So back to our manual. Tightening torques. Rocker shaft to cylinder head is 15 pounds the torque. So I'm going to go with 15. Again, we got our torque wrench. Loosen it off. Hands are oily, so a bit more difficult this time. So 10, 13, 14, 15, 15 pounds. Lock that off. Get ourselves a long 13 socket. Take this all the way down. There's this this one, getting close. That's getting a bit tight, so before it gets there, let's get this one down. It's getting tight now, so shouldn't take much. There we go. Front one. Right, do the back one again just to make sure. Yep, and the front one again. Perfect. So that's all nicely on now. So next we've got gaskets for our carb. So just going to get a cloth, just wipe around the carb fitting. Just make sure it's nice and clean. I did clean it already, but just want to make sure it hasn't got loads of oil and rubbish in there. We've got our gasket, which we'll put on. And we have our tray next, which I'm going to give a bit of a clean to because it's pretty disgusting. By the way, if anyone, this is what I tend to use to degrease stuff, gunk natural green. I'm not saying it's the best, I'm just saying it's what I use. Plenty of people have different things that they like to use. Just gonna get a new pair of gloves. I don't like using this stuff without gloves on. Tends to not enjoy bare skin very much. Okay, so that's tied it up. We can put that on. It's nicely there. So now we're ready to put the carb back on. Have a new gasket. Put on there. There we go. And our marginally cleaned carb. Just drops on. I believe this is 10, sorry. So we're going to need a 10 screw spanner. In here. So we're nearly there. We don't want to over tighten this. It can distort the base. So firm, but not, don't want it to be over tight. Make sure there's no kind of wobble or wiggle. There we go, I think that's good. It's firm, there's no movement at all. Should be good there. 7, I think. Eight. So look at the nut at the back first. Good. Accelerator clip. And the spring, the accelerator. Accelerator back on. Right, nearly there. Got nice new copper gaskets for the exhaust, because if you remember, the exhaust wasn't looking great. It's got nice new bolts as well for the exhaust. Chose the copper ones because they're better. Get a nice seal. I'm going to put all the elbows on before I tighten up the exhaust. Well, got my washers. Tighten that up in a minute. Put the other one on first on the other side, so it's all nicely aligned. Just going to give this elbow a quick brush. See where the gasket's gone. There's quite a lot of leakage.